Here we go.
Happy end of year. Happy beginning of year.
You know what? You know what, Nancy? We don't often say we say Happy New Year, which is very forward thinking, and we're looking forward to a Happy New Year, but we don't say Happy End of Year.
Happy
Um,
end of year.
well, you know what I mean? I think we do take stock, but we don't really celebrate the year that was. I don't, and I think that that's what New Year's Eve is supposed to do, really, in a way. Oh, what a great year it was. Oh, what a great year it's going to be. But, stopping to say, I have to look back on what I'm grateful for this year. And I hope you'll celebrate what you have to be grateful for. Kind of like the Thanksgiving thing, but much more, you know, stopping to assess the best of the year and the lessons of the year. I just don't know that we do that. We're going through Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. We're going through all those holidays, but then we're going to barrel right into New Year's. So I think there's some room for reflection there.
Two important concepts that we need to focus on during our discussion. One is take stock, take inventory. Go in order to do that, we need to go to the past. We need to pull back and examine what worked, what didn't work. Identify maybe the causes or factors that may have led to things working or not working. And then the second thing you said I want to underline is celebration. I don't know about you, but as an entrepreneur, I don't take enough time to celebrate. I work and I work and I work, and I sometimes joke about the fact I have the worst boss in the world. She doesn't give me time off, and she doesn't acknowledge all the good things I do.
Right. Yeah, and I have a similar boss.
Oh, do you?
It's very true.
Fire them.
My boss tells me if I don't get up at 5 a.m, I'm a slacker. My boss tells me, if I leave the office to do anything other than work or some kind of chore that I must absolutely do for the family, then I'm shirking my responsibility. I do have the worst. Entrepreneurs in general have the worst
noise in
boss.
the head. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you're watching this show and trying to get some morsels to help you, launch this coming year and make some good choices about how you want to change and improve, you need to both look backwards, but you also need to look forwards, and maybe you need to add more celebration for your victories, because without acknowledging the things we're doing well, we're not going to get more of them. To me, that's part of the law of attraction, is that we need to notice that.
Yes. Yeah, we need to also, I was thinking this morning, we need to put that positivity out there, because we shouldn't save it for when we're feeling vulnerable. In other words, when someone behaves in a way that isn't that is lacking in integrity or something, and we're reminding ourselves that we're in the right, we say, yeah, I am in the right. Well, we should reinforce that all the time. If we're doing good things, we should reward ourselves. If our accomplishments bear fruit, we should reward ourselves and celebrate it. And that way we're not at a deficit when we need that wellspring of self-confidence or strength. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Yes, I am.
That was a muted response.
I muted it because, see this frisky puppy?
Oh!
This frisky puppy needs to go outdoors pretty quickly, and I turned off the sound so that you didn't hear his whining.
Okay.
But while we were talking, Claudia posted, and thank you so much for your comment, that she just posted about celebrating as a business owner. So congratulations. We're on the same tune here. same line, same tune, whatever. You know,
Yeah, we are on the same page, Claudia, because
oh, there we go.
the funny thing is our topic of the day is priorities, but we just came in with that thought, and sometimes we we just roll with it. We roll with a sentiment or a thought because a good pointer did come out of that, which was, you have to celebrate your wins, and it isn't self-aggrandizing to be
No,
a little self-aggrandizing. you know, it isn't.
no, no.
It isn't gratuitous.
Yeah, I just signed up literally this morning, and you would think at the end of the year, who is going to sign up? But I just signed up a law firm to work together, and very excited. And I want to celebrate. How am I going to celebrate? Well, I'm announcing it now to the world, etc. But I also need to think of some special activity. Maybe it'll be a longer walk around the block. Maybe it'll be clicking my heels together, something like that, because I have to pause and acknowledge, I have worked hard this year. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful when I get outside validation.
Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And second of all, yes, we that feeling of that deep breath or that acknowledgement, it does fit in with our conversation today because that is a priority. That's a priority. There are priorities that are what we call our to-do list, which is I have to call the plumber or I have to get this, I have to renew my certificate for my website or whatever. Those are to-dos, right? I have to get this project out. But then there's the constant kind of to-dos that are on our priority list, but sometimes they get pushed down simply because they're not a to-do. And acknowledging, taking that break, taking that moment, you may think, oh, I could do that over the weekend. I could do that later. I could pat myself on the back for something I did well. Let's keep going. I think that's another reason why people don't acknowledge their wins sometimes. It's they don't want to lose the momentum. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do more and more and more.
And it's interesting you should say that, because every coach that I've had has shared with me that when you make a sale, you have obviously good energy, right? And energy sells. Hence, the next thing you should be doing is selling some more because you're in that momentum. But when does it stop, Hirsch? When does it stop? And for people like you and me, because, I don't get up at 5 a.m., so mine is 6 a.m., but nevertheless, I'm up relatively early. I, sit down and start working, and I put in, 10, 12 hours a day. When does it stop? How many days a week do you do that? What's the priority? And unless you get a health call, a family crisis, some other intervention, many of us just keep pushing ourselves. Is this really the lifestyle we signed up for by becoming an entrepreneur? So again, what are your priorities?
Yeah. And I think that, priorities as they exist from day to day are lesser priorities than the priorities that are really what we call our core values.
Mhm.
And so let's say it's a proposal that a prospective client has asked for. Well, that there's a priority as exists for them, which you want to respect, and then there's a priority as it exists for you relative to your other things that are on the.
Whoops, you just paused. So I don't know if I did something to cause you to pause or your internet went out, but hopefully it's just a glitch and you'll be right back. So in the meantime, I'm going to monopolize the time frame while, maybe I add you back. No, he definitely
Me anyway, is to take
Oh,
that deep breath we were talking about. Did you lose me?
we lost you. We lost you. So I jumped in. So
Okay, good, because in all honesty, I was probably rambling. I don't think it was my best
soliloquy, huh?
rant.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
but there's been some work on the internet.
Ah.
I have a note to get it addressed, but But see,
It's
that is a
become a
priority.
priority.
It is a priority to fix. There are things that are blockers to your other goals. So it is important to put those things at the top of the list that maybe you don't want to really get to. They seem so silly, seems like a nuisance, but it may be a bigger deal than you're really, that, and it may be easier. We know this stuff. It may be easier to do the other thing that you love doing, you know?
I'm
Uh,
going to hop in here because
yes.
this is what I've discovered, and it's a fairly interesting thing. And that is when there are things that I don't do, when I put off, perhaps I procrastinate, invariably it turns out it was not a priority, or that there was some, universal energy going on in which this wasn't the time to do it. So I have learned to honor and respect the fact that when I don't hop to right away, that there may be some, like I say, energetic reason that I'm responding to. And
Yeah.
not that I'm lazy or whatever, that I don't know how to prioritize, but clearly it's not the right timing. And that is something we have to be sensitive to. And again, not blame ourselves and constantly, with the whip, uh,
Yeah.
make ourselves go forward.
Well, I have one final question that I want to put to you, which is what about when it's a priority to be patient?
Could you explain? I'm not sure I'm
Yeah.
following your question.
Yeah. For example, as someone who wants to be communicative, wants to connect, wants to deliver, and so forth, sometimes be just the best plan is really to wait, let the other person take their time, let them get back to you, let them make the next move. The move is really theirs to make. It could be in a negotiation, it could be in anything. And yet we're struggling not with the stalling problem, but with prioritizing our own patience.
Well, again, going back to some wisdom in selling, the first person who talks loses. Hence, there has to be patience when you have presented information and you're asking someone to make a decision. We have a tendency to jump in, fill the silence, scurry around, thinking if we say one more thing, it will help them tip the scale and make the decision. Well, actually, that one more thing may kibosh the whole deal. So it is important for us to recognize the value of patience, silence, restraint of pen and tongue. We don't always have to respond right away. And letting the other person sit and have time to reflect can be good. Quick example that I just heard earlier today. This is that number two buyer. Number two buyers are impatient. They're spontaneous and they make quick decisions. Hence, they're the fastest decision maker. They need only one or two contacts, right, to make that decision. Well, this person was on a plane flight that was 18 hours from the United States to Asia. And there may have been, stopovers and delays. It was a long flight. And for a number two person who we know what zit's flesh is, you get antsy and you can't, you got ants in your pants, you can't sit still. But for this number two person, that 18 hours of enforced quiet brought him to some amazing revelations that he would not have gained had he constantly been churning and churning and churning, which is typical of number twos. Right. And so, yes, patience has value. I have learned myself to be very patient. I have a lot of number two style in me, but it is very evident to me the value of taking my time and pulling back and letting the other person make another move, like in a game, what's their move, so that you then can see a bigger picture and make a counter move that's more effective.
I love that. I love that. That's a wonderful thought going into this holiday. It's still the holiday season, but going into this, it's a wonderful thought because it's something to keep in mind as we're waiting for people to get back to us, or wondering if they want us to get back to them, and that whole engagement, just the thought that, we don't need to force things. We should stay in the easy a little bit. We should take it easy, take deep breaths, be available for the people who are important to us, and not forget to celebrate ourselves, right, Claudia? And thank you everyone for watching us this whole season. I think this our last
it's our last
broadcast of the year
episode for 2024. We will resume in January of 2025. So stay tuned for our reappearance. In the meantime, yes, we're going to pull back. We're going to take some needed time to reflect and celebrate and prepare for our best year ever, right?
Wonderful. Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
To all of our sales success, it's Dr. Nancy Zier, Sales Whisperer.
And Hirsch Repun, your personal brand builder.